Welcome to Doctor on Call with your host, DocGriffon. The doctor will be with you momentarily. Our guest this evening is Norwegian graphic artist Blackout. Warning: this talk show contains entertainment. Enjoyment of the following discussion may cause abdominal cramping and loose stools. Doctor on Call inhibits the absorption of some vitamins and other nutrients. Vitamins A, D, E, and K have been added. Dr. Griffin, paging Doc Griffin, you're needed in the OR. Stat.
And thank you, Nurse Wicked. We appreciate that. Also, the warning should have included possible anal leakage, but we'll let that slide. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. This is going to be a very good show. This is one of the few people that I like to call a friend online. And, of course, this is probably the youngest case of artism that I've had on the show. You heard that right. Not autism, but artism. Being only 23 years old, I am extremely jealous of this young man because of the fact that he's following his path. Whereas at 23, I was basically following trails. But that's a completely different story. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please, welcome to Doctor on Call, Blackout.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
And how are you this evening?
I'm slightly tired, but I've been streaming all day. I'm in good shape for once. I don't feel like shit, and I'm here to have fun. So it's gonna be an entertaining evening.
And one thing I did want to point out, because I know there were people who were part of this, I had put up a tweet earlier on asking if you guys wanted this to be a drinking stream or if you just wanted it to run normal like it usually does. And by a vote of 52 to 48, you decided, let's just do what Doc normally does. And I just want to say this up front, that I really, really appreciate that. Because, it's kind of grandstanding, just getting drunk and chatting with your friend. And that pays a lot of respect to me. It pays a lot of respect to the format. So I thank everybody for actually doing that. But the show is about people, about interesting people and what they do, how they do it, why they do it. So we're going to peel back the curtain here, and we're going to talk to Blackout. Now, of course, for those of you who are not familiar, he is a graphic artist. But the thing that I find curious is there's a cultural thing going on. You're in Norway, and, of course, most of the people listening are in the U.S. One thing I want to ask, as far as growing up, was art something that you were encouraged to do? Is art something that you discovered on your own? How did that work out? And when did you know, as far as age-wise?
Honestly, starting up as a Norwegian kid, I had moved a lot around, like from different cities to even from Norway to Sweden for a while as well. I was kind of the new kid, so I usually ended up being the one sitting alone, just doing his own shit, which is where my art came in. I started drawing just like simple drawings of, at the time, Pokemons, because this was really young Blackout, age like 5, 6. And
5 or 6? You were drawing Pokemon?
Yeah.
Wow.
So art has kind of always been a part of my childhood. And as I had mentioned before on the Morning Decay, when I was on there, a lot of my inspirations early on have been either European comics or Don Martin comics. And I started first by trying to figure out how to draw that. This is still age 5, 6, 7 in there between, and I failed gave up, came back like around middle school, started doodling in my notebook like every artist does. Like, you gotta start somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah, and a lot of people seem to like to see me draw. People were basically looking at my sketchbook while I was drawing in class. So basically taking away all attention from the board down to my fucking paper. So I've gotten in trouble a few times because of that thing. Excuse me. But the point where I actually realized that I wanted to draw as a full-time hobby, more or less, and slightly a side job, I guess was around 2015. Like, I've basically gotten done with high school. I was at university for a little bit, and then I basically found my love of drawing art again. And I think it was because I discovered a lot of web comics at the time, and
Well, I tell you what. Let's go ahead and break that down, because I know a lot of kids. I mean, do you come from an extended family, or is it just you, or was it just you and your parents?
well, here's the thing. My family situation is a bit weird because like, my parents are divorced. First of all, they've been that for many fucking years. Like, yeah, I think around year 2000 or something like that. So there were always a split between the family, and I don't know. It's we kind of just kept to the close part of the family, like the
So did you end up doing things like, summers in Norway, winters in Sweden? Staying, basically parting your time out between your mom and your dad?
Yes. However, the thing is, I lived in Sweden like from a really young age, but lived in Norway at least from year like when I was 6 and until now. I've lived in Norway, so we've kind of had our relatives on the Norwegian side all the time because my parents are from Norway.
Okay.
I just lived in Sweden for a while.
And
yeah.
And who would you say, and it doesn't have to be mom or dad, who is the first family member that actually looked at your stuff and said, yeah, you need to keep doing that?
That would be my dad.
Well, break it down. What were you drawing, or do you remember at the time?
I don't remember completely, but I think it was either my dad or my grandma. And if it was my grandma, then it was me basically doodling on just a piece of paper during a summer when I spend like I used to spend like a week or two at her house, and there were not a lot of things to do where she lived. There weren't a lot of kids around that area, so I was kind of stuck there alone with her and my uncle. So he usually played PC games, and I didn't have much interest in that at the time. Turns out that will change like many years later. But
sure.
Yeah, so a lot of drawing on paper and reading a lot of comics in general. Like, around that time, I think we just have gotten the first few issues of Dragon Ball in Norwegian.
Now, were these the ones that they cut down from the manga and actually like made physical paper issues of?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
I could see where those would be inspiring. There's a lot of good art in those.
Oh yeah, no, that art style has always been a big inspiration for me. It's not the anime style; it's more the comic part of it that always appealed to me. Because like I grew up with a lot of European comics, like Lucky Luke. Oh God, I'm blanking on names now.
Well,
Asterix.
I was going to say, I've heard you mention Asterisk and Obelisk too.
Yeah,
And
should
I enjoyed
have.
those.
Yeah, they were great. Like I really enjoyed them as a child, at least. I don't know how well they've hold out, but I tend to return to those comics like every 4 years or so.
And I've seen oh, what was the other one that you were did you get in did you get much into Tintin?
Yeah, not the comics, but the TV show. I really enjoyed those episodes that I managed to get a hold of.
Yeah.
But yes, it's the same type of style.
And I'm going to guess that in Norway there weren't a lot of comic book shops, that you were basically doing newsstand pulls.
It was more that they sold it in normal grocery stores.
Yeah.
Like you could get a hold of a lot of Eastern European comics or just comics in general. Like that's where my uncle used to get his X-Men comics from, which I also got into for a little while. More specifically, the Wolverine comics that went from like 2001 to 2005, I think.
Okay.
They were a fucking long run. And the new X-Men run by Grant Morrison? Is that his name? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Grant Morrison.
Yeah. And like those are basically the two comics that I read of when it comes to superhero comics. Anything else didn't appeal to me.
So you were outside of the cape and tights, and honestly, I think that reflects quite a bit in your art as well.
I mean, yeah. I was never a superhero fan. Like those comics, yeah, I did enjoy a lot of them. Like later on, but they never really were a thing for me. Like I used to watch the Batman cartoons for a while.
Oh, the original animated series?
Yes, and also the Batman Beyond series.
Gotcha.
And those, yeah, I found them to be interesting. I found the movies to be interesting when I got around to watching those. Though I started with the Batman Forever. That's the third one, right?
I forget. I'll be honest with you, because it got jumbled up with Brave and the Bold.
Fair enough. No, yeah, it's the third one because it's the one with Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about as far as the animated series goes. Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, the animated series, I basically just managed to catch few episodes of because they were showing it at such a weird time during the weekends, and I like to sleep at least when I was younger.
And so, did you, as a young child, whether encouraged or just by scholastic movements, were you encouraged to go into an art field? Did you seek out art classes? How did that work for you when you were young?
Neither, to be honest, because I was the oldest kid. I was the one that they were supposed to look up to. Like my parents were kind of old school that way. That okay, I shouldn't be sitting around drawing. I shouldn't be sitting around playing video games or watching movies all day. But I guess where the encouragement came in was probably around when my dad started getting more tattoos, and he actually had a tattoo machine, and he basically let me tattoo him. With like me and my brothers got to tattoo on him, and we like that kind of just resparked the motivation to start drawing again, because I wanted to be able to do something creative.
And as far as now that kind of blows me away, because I have my own set of tattoos. Were you able to draw anything for him to put onto his body, or was this just, hey, ink me to ink me?
It was ink me to ink me at the time. Like I think it was around 15. So that was already a big bragging thing. Like not a lot of kids got to tattoo anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like I actually got to do a lot of the lines, and I was horrible at tattooing. Of course, like it was my first time. But
now as
he
far as the tattooing goes, have you ever had any of your artwork inked on somebody?
not as far as I know yet, no. But my dad wanted me to draw him something to tattoo on himself, or get someone to tattoo on him. And I might talk to him about that at a later date, but for now, no.
Well, not that I'm an artist in any way, but yeah, it's an amazing thing when somebody comes up to you and goes, "Look, I got your design." And they roll up a sleeve or pull up a pant leg, and there's your art indelibly etched on somebody's flesh. It's an amazing thing.
If someone did that to me of my art from the past, I would probably panic a bit, because as an artist, we tend to not like our previous artwork.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this. One of the people I consider my mentor is a guy by the name of Ray Bradbury, and he says the biggest thing that you have to overcome being an artist in any field is what's called the artist's catch-22, which is you don't think you're good enough to do it. And then once you do it and somebody tells you that they love it, you're not really convinced that they actually love it. And you're always trying to point out the flaws in what you've done. Now, I would be surprised if you weren't a person who does that. Can you talk a little bit about, are you stuck in an artist's catch-22?
Kinda, but here's the thing. I stopped caring about what other people said about my art. I kind of just went off on my own. When I start drawing, I basically I have my mind focused on what I'm supposed to do, which is kind of one of the reasons why I know a lot of the people in the chat have seen my streams, because we share kind of the same group of people who watch. And that's one of the reasons why I go quiet a lot of the time, is when I go really focused, I tend to just blank out everything in my mind and just go off.
Well, that's kind of a traditional artist thing, though, because, it belies focus.
Yeah, of course it is. And that's why it's kind of it's kind of weird streaming art if you're going to a show in front of someone, and if you're doing art with someone else. Like I have a co-host who is also an artist, so we both get super focused, and suddenly the stream is a dead air. Yeah, that's something that I normally get through, and one of the reasons why I try to get more people on when I feel like, okay, I need to focus on this. We need someone to just keep a conversation going in the background.
Well, but I have seen several times, and we'll get into this a little bit later in the timeline, that I've seen not a word spoken for like 15 or 20 minutes, and your chat is still going. They're still fascinated by the whole process. And I think that is an amazing tip of the hat, even if it's not spoken, from the audience to you, and of course Diddy too, because she draws on the stream as well. She's very talented. But now you get to the point where you're back in middle school. You've got your drawing going on. Do you have any type of inkling that this is something that you want to pursue?
Yes. That's actually the time when I started to feel the motivation come back to wanting to make something. I wanted to make comics. I wanted to make just drawings in general, just because I found them to be fun to make. But like with all artists who start in school, there's always that one teacher who ruins it for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically one of the reasons why I stopped drawing in middle school. Because I got told that, yeah, your drawings are okay, but no one can draw a perfect drawing.
That is, let's see, wait a minute. What's the word I'm looking for? Retarded.
Yes.
That is completely idiotic. I mean, how the hell can you compare Monet to Jackson Pollock to Picasso? You can't do it. Every artist is stylized. I'm not going to use the unique snowflake analogy, but it's true. Essentially, me personally being a writer, there's only 7 conflicts. There's only 7 archetypes that can be written about. That's all that exists. And if writers would have said back in the day when they finally defined everything and just shrugged their shoulders, gave up and said, well, yeah, that's all that can be written, or that's the only combination of musical notes, or this is the we've already mixed every single color on the palette and walked away, then we certainly would have missed out on a lot of beauty, a lot of art, and a lot of talent. How do you fight back as your young self against somebody saying this to you?
Well, I was actually as the thing, I actually kind of like that teacher. She was actually a good art teacher, and it kind of ruined me hearing that. And basically, I kind of stopped drawing for like 2 or 3 years, and I returned like in the middle of high school because I got myself a cheap drawing tablet, one of those Wacom Bamboos, which is just one of those drawing pads you basically draw on a pad and look at the screen while you're drawing on the pad instead of on a screen.
Oh yeah, my wife has one.
Yeah, and that's basically when I wanted to try again. I started to get pretty good in it. I started to make some few artwork here and there, but I wasn't good.
Well, and let's stop for just a second and talk about that too. Did you find yourself more comfortable in a digital medium as opposed to pen and paper?
Yes and no. Because on pen and paper, you have a lot more control over your pencil. Like, you know how a pencil is supposed to work. You know the feel of a pencil. Going into digital art is a lot different, I find. And after trying to learn to draw on that bamboo tablet, it was so weird. Like, it's a disconnect, more or less, because you're supposed, when your mind is set to draw on a paper, you basically, you see the paper in front of you, you know that you have full control, you can see what you're drawing, and then you're gonna switch over to drawing on a tablet. You're gonna look at the screen and draw, and there's just a disconnect and for me that I couldn't get over until I got a screen tablet, which was like back in 2013. And as soon as I got a hold of that, I think it was a Wacom Cintiq 12WX. It was an old style of screen tablet.
Okay.
And then suddenly I felt it was a lot easier for me to draw digitally. Still, you have more control on drawing on paper, but it's a lot more it's a lot faster to draw digitally.
Well, I found a lot of trouble trying to use her tablet just because my mind just didn't make the connection. If I'm not, pressing down on the pencil and creating, then it is completely a disconnect.
Yeah, it is.
So how did you overcome it?
Well, I continued to try. I went back to drawing on paper, started saving up my money, and took on a few like small jobs as a kid, and basically got that screen tablet and just started drawing as normal, just getting used to drawing on screen.
So basically it was just dig your heels in and get to it, right?
Yeah, more or less. But I wouldn't recommend anyone starting with digital art. Always draw on paper first. Know the basic.
Now here's the thing that I think would be something for the people who are just starting off in the chat that are budding artists. I that's great advice as far as grab your affinity with pen and paper. If you were going to recommend to somebody what they should start off with, something that's fairly economical, because I know there are people who get into the sphere of art and become discouraged and want to back out. But if there's something that you think would help them stick to it, what type of tech would you recommend for them?
Quite honestly, I don't think you need any specific equipment to get started. Like, I'm the kind of guy who actually drew a lot on with like colored pencils, which is the worst thing you could fucking use. It's painful, but yeah, I used that as a startup. I started figuring out a main basic. If you know the basic, you can get somewhere. Now, where to start on learning shit, that's a whole different story, because you just gotta try. You gotta try, see why, like, try to figure out why it doesn't look good, and just see how other people does it. Try to figure out the best way to mimic it, and then after a while, you will figure out your own style. Like, there's a long fucking process that took me basically, yeah, more or less 18 years to get to.
Well, and since we're at the bottom of the hour, let's go ahead. If you haven't looked at it yet, stop by the description in the stream. All of Blackout's links are there. His Twitter, the YouTube, and the TeePublic store. I encourage you to stop by and visit them all. Now, he normally runs a show Monday through Friday. It begins at 3 o'clock-ish, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and runs for a couple of few hours. And also, keep in mind that he has a wonderful co-host as well that does drawing too. It's great to see multiple styles on one stream. And I do also want to make sure and pimp out. I was rotating out people to go and watch that I liked, but at the bottom of the description, you'll see my prescription for additional entertainment. And there's a little over a half dozen of the channels that I like to watch that I think people should invest their time in, subscribe to, because there's a lot of great entertainment out there, and a lot of entertainment that doesn't involve hype or drama or any type of, TMZ through line. And I encourage you guys to go check that out. But especially stop by and say hi to Blackout, and maybe buy something on the TeePublic store. And since we're at the bottom of the hour, of course, at this point, the romance with my friends at New Amsterdam Vodka is kind of dying and fading away. But since I still have some liquor on hand, I would like everybody to raise a glass. Yes, Zach, you are on that list. Why wouldn't you be? Everybody raise their glass or other type of adult intoxicant, and let's toast our guests for this evening. And remember, this is brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. That's right, New Amsterdam Vodka. When you only have $13, you want vodka and you want a buzz. New Amsterdam Vodka. Yeah, I'm just doing shots of raspberry vodka.
Ah,
and it's actually pretty good. I was kind of prepping for today because I thought for sure the talk on this state was going to get us, and that this would have to be a drinking stream. But okay, nobody's listening, right? It's just the two of us.
yeah.
Okay. I had a plan that if these bastards were going to attack us and make us drink, that I would start out nailing it at like $20 a shot to make them gun shy. But
Oh, you haven't met the tacos yet then.
well,
I started at 20 and I ended up about 50.
well, no, I told this to Disky, and he's like, "Huh, you forget my job, right? I $20 isn't anything." I'm like, "Shit, okay." Let's just hope that people just want to hear the regular format then, and not me getting hammered. But okay, let's get back on this, because honestly, I'm always completely fascinated with the artistic process, more so how you got to it, how you get down to business, essentially, and say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it done. Now, I know you've got an IRL job, but at what point did you go, hey, you know what? I'm going to make this my side gig. I really like doing this, so I'm going to keep doing this. Was there an epiphany? Was there just an aha moment where you said, "Yeah, this is going to happen"?
Actually, it was kind of I drew the lucky straw. Okay, so basically, during the last, I think it was at the beginning of 2017, I started getting more active on YouTube. I started watching a lot more videos from, more specifically, people on the commentary community, such as the oh
Now these weren't
wait,
artists. These
no,
were just
not at
social
all.
commentators, right?
Yes, or they focus more on other people's videos, drama, whatever the fuck. I really lost interest in their stuff, but I started drawing. I think it was a few fan arts of different YouTubers, because their personas that they've gotten drawn before are fun to draw. Like you can come up with a different version of it, and basically the gig that got me rolling from the very beginning was a simple drawing. It's fucking disgusting one, but I basically there were this amateur animator on YouTube called the Human Rat,
Okay.
and I've been following him for roughly like 3 months at the time, and I basically just sent him a drawing that I did, just because I was bored. I needed something to do, and
And by the way, you can post that if you want.
yeah, I'm planning on it. I just gotta find the picture first. I think I lost it. Fuck. Hold
And
on,
yeah,
give me a
and just to let you guys know, when we get to the top of the hour with the Q&A session, we're going to go ahead and do a little slideshow too, to show you some of Blackout's art in case you're unfamiliar with it. And I think you're going
actually,
to enjoy that.
I might do it as we go on, because a lot of the me getting into drawing and making this into my part-time or side job is because of a lot of artwork I do for other people. Like I do one artwork for one person, which they tell to someone else, and I get another gig from someone else, and it just kept rolling.
Well,
So
and can I say how blown away I was when you did my avatar? I mean, anybody who wants to see that, that's right on my main Twitter page. It's if it's also on the Patreon too. I love sharing it out. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I never expected it, and it made me mad. Let's put it that way. That you were 23 and you had this much talent, and you know, I was still shooting beers and doing bong hits at 23.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't call myself talented. I'm far from it. I'm an amateur when it comes to art, but I know what I think looks somewhat good. I know how to make things look kind of creepy, offsetting, but it still looks intriguing enough for people to wanting more of it.
Well, and just a quick note from the chat. Late Night with Broski says Blackout does good work and it's fast as fuck. Boy!
That depends on when I start doing the drawing, to be honest. Like there's been times where I've had to use like a few months on an artwork because I got mentally drained from doing it.
Well,
But normally I can get one art piece out within roughly a week. So
Well,
yeah,
if I remember, your avatar or the avatar that you drew for me took like 3 days.
yeah.
You knocked that son of a bitch out quick, and then you're like, and I've got these color options for you, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is actually done. I'm like, do what you feel, brother.
Yeah, no, I like getting stuff done. Like, when it comes to your avatar, yeah, it was one of those. I saw someone do good content on YouTube because I I don't remember how I started got in contact with you, but it was through some stream. I'm not sure whose.
I can tell you,
Yeah,
it was yours. I
was it
got out of
mine?
the hospital that day. I was looking for something on YouTube. I've got live notifications of pretty much everything because I love to bounce around. And it was just you, and you were talking about something. I forget what you were drawing at that point. And but there was only like 3 or 4 people in the chat at the time, and nobody was talking. So I started talking back like I normally do. The persona that I do on Doctor on Call is a little bit different, and people can attest to this in the chat as to how I talk in the chat and how I meme. And I just took a liking to your stuff instantly because, like I've mentioned before, you reminded me a lot of the old underground comics that I used to read, like the Freak Brothers and Mr. Natural, and of course the Rat Fink art that I grew up around because my dad was a big Motorhead, and I was instantly taken to it, and we talked a little bit, and I think it was the next stream where you actually got me on because I was a little bit. I mean, shit, I just got out of the hospital, so I was a little bit tired. And
yeah, you tried to say that you were gonna get watch the stream when your doctor told you that you really should get some rest.
yeah, but yeah, he can fuck off sideways because and I like what it like, what I liked, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start pushing this stream out, and this isn't okay. This is the way that you do it, people. And I'm sure everybody in here has done it at one time, at least most all the names that I recommend. And there are some new people here too. But legitimately, if you like something, then why the hell aren't you clicking on the button right there that says share? If there's somebody that you enjoy or that you think your friends might like, whether or not it's a guilty pleasure or a mind-blowing experience, share it out. I didn't hesitate just because I liked this. I was like, man, more people need to see this kid draw. I did the same thing with Optic with Morning Decay. I swear to God, I will do it because I've watched I'm sorry, Zach, you're too early on Saturday for me, but I've watched the rebroadcasts. I do it with Killing Joke, with Irate Prostate, with Ichabod Orange, Disky Fringo, American Gadfly. All these people have worthy shows. People should tune in. And if you like it enough, then it takes you all of about 30 seconds to share it to your friends, and that's how word gets around. Guys, I'm never going to have a big campaign. I doubt if any of the people that are on my list are going to have a super huge campaign either, but the content is important enough that people really should take the time and take a listen. It's brilliant stuff, and it's not the same fare that you're getting right now with all the SJWs and all the people who are looking for that TMZ internet drama. Most all the channels that I have right now are people talking about things that are important to them, talking about art, talking about you can talk about certain things in life without having to go overboard and sell the drama on it. people really need to stop and start talking again. And that's what these guys do. And if you can sit back and listen to people, and I love this. I especially point this out with Blackout by Dawn, which is Blackout stream with Diddy, and of course with Morning Decay. And I was following along with Optic before he got the format together, and Broski is definitely an enhancement to what they do. And it's really nice to see these people who are on the internet not for the bucks. Everybody is doing it because here's something that I love. Here's something that I want to share with you. Now, I will say Joker is one of the most abrasive motherfuckers on the YouTubes right now. He is the embodiment of Don Rickles. But if you're not careful, you might learn a little something. And that's where the coolness comes in. I mean, these guys are hip already in the sense that they're doing great content and nobody knows that they're around. Maybe 400 or 500 people. Hell, my wife and I have a bet tonight. She says that I'm going to break 300 subs. And I'm like, you know what? That's not necessarily the point of the whole deal. The whole point of the deal is that you're doing something that you need. You have some type of internal desire to share with people. And whether you have 100 subs, 200 subs, 200 million subs, you know that those people that are tuning into you live and tuning into you all the time are supporting what you're doing. They believe in what you're doing and not taking the word in a bad way, but that's an ego boost that I think everybody can use. And people like Blackout that, you know, I saw that only had 4 subscribers. That was incredibly criminal. I'm like, more people need to see this kid. More people need to see it. And I stand by my statement for everybody that I've listed down there in the descriptors. And this really is not about me. So can we get back to the guest already, Griff? God damn. Okay, we're back. But yeah, when you were looking online and you decided to, well, when you were looking for mile markers, basically road signs, to post as far as, yeah, this drawing thing could probably work out for me. Were there any content creators that actually stood out?
You mean as me drawing, or that I kind of took inspiration from, or you mean as in just someone that I worked with and who basically got me into the game, more or less?
Well, let's go Chinese restaurant. Some are column A, some are column B.
Okay. Well, as I said, I found basically my love for drawing things again when I was done with the high school through a lot of web comics. And after having drawn a few of those and having fucked that up, I kind of just took a step back and started drawing for fun, because I had completely forgotten about fun for a while. And I started just drawing fan arts of a few YouTubers, as I said. And actually, I can pull it up on screen right now. Basically, where everything started, where the ball started running.
Well, let me go ahead and feature you here so I don't run over it.
Yeah.
Bear with me here for just a second.
So this ugly fucking rat was the whole thing that kind of kicked this off, which is based on a YouTuber by the name of The Human Rat, who does animations. Good dude. Unfortunately, he hasn't done shit in a while. I did message him, and I'm trying to get him on the show, because I really appreciate that guy for basically giving me the first little push. And following that, I kind of people started to recognize that drawing for roughly a week, and then everyone forgot about me. So later that month, I drew a simple headshot for Elvis the Alien, which was this exact drawing. This is how I got into the game of doing commissions. I drew this just for fun. I had just started getting into Elvis the Alien's content and the Hot Wet Soup, their stuff, like the podcast and Saptai before some internet drama happened within that community. And I just drew this for fun.
That's
And
awesome now. That is awesome.
yeah, and he contacted me like the same day, asked me if I was willing to make a t-shirt design for him, because he had just opened a store and he had like one artist featured on it. And of course I said yes. Like I've been watching his content for like a month, and that kind of just led me to finish this piece, or add to this piece, and basically just take a step up from it. And he was so happy about that he commissioned me for 3 more pieces. And this was all during a summer. Like I made 3 or 4 pieces of designs for him for his, I think it was his second season of clothing line. So it was this one, the Vaporwave one. That's because of this drawing alone, I kind of knew that my art was something that people was interested in. And because for a while I saw a lot of people buying this. A lot of people kept contacting me saying that they really enjoyed this specific drawing. And yeah, I had fun drawing it. And that's kind of just the point when you know that you have something going on that can work out.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, that's, and not to get into superior ego strokes, but as an artist, a lot of times you're very much reticent to believe that people are enjoying what you're doing. And there's a ton of comments in the chat right now. I don't know if you're watching, but everybody's just like, that's awesome. It's mind blowing. This is great. And I'm sure that helps to push you along.
Yeah, of course. But here's the thing. I'm an artist. I get self-aware about my own art. So me looking at this, yeah, I'm still kind of proud of how I managed to pull this together. I think I finished this one within like a day or 2, because I really sat down, got really in a focused mode, and just drew this one out of the blue, more or less. And I don't know.
Well,
I think it looks shit now.
Well, it's like the best quote that ever came from Steven Spielberg was, "Movies are never finished; they're just abandoned."
Yeah.
I mean, because I will go back on stuff that I've done and say, man, I could have done this, I could have done that. But I mean, once you cut it loose, it's out there. Leave it the hell alone, George Lucas.
Yes, please. Just leave it alone. We don't need another special edition.
Yeah, and So, and there's a lot of people who didn't know that you did the Elvis, the alien stuff either, and it's beautiful stuff. I think a lot of people who tune into the stream show the more, the more gritty, the more Rat Fink, the more Freak Brothers stuff you do, but you can do a polish. Especially my favorite one that you've done, and this is not to plug, but yeah, sure, why not? It's available on his TeePublic. Is the Nobodies shirt. I love that shirt.
Yeah, this one. Hold on, just give it a moment. It's loading up. There we go. Yeah, I had a lot of fun drawing this. I know the joke is kind of it's a silly fucking joke. I just found it fun to do and just run the joke into the ground. That's what I do.
Well, but you did. The one criticism I have is that you drew yourself like 20 years older. And
yeah.
You are a baby face, my friend.
Oh, I am. I know. I mean, I've been... people have thought that I was 14. Like, yeah, no shit. So, yeah, just to get through the Elvis the Alien thing. Shit, where is it? Yeah, this one, and I'm missing one. Hold on. Hold up. I got this. There's one more I did for that starting season, which was this one. Couldn't find the correct file, but it's this drawing. I put so much time and effort into this one, and I still, looking back at this one, I'm still happy about it. Okay, the cacti are a bit off, but I'm proud of this one. Like, it's one of the few drawings that I did back then that I'm still kind of proud of.
Yeah, it's an awesome piece.
Yeah, and I think I used like around 3 days on this as well.
And by the way, I just wanted to make sure that our listeners knew we're almost at the top of the hour. Please do me the favor and go ahead, start loading your questions in for the Q&A. So any questions that you have about Blackout, professional wise, artistic wise, we're not getting into the dark corners of his mind. We are just asking him questions.
I don't think there's any dark corners of my mind, actually.
Well, I'm kind of leaving that out there because I know the taco-ness state is there. So
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes, Taco Stancia. Sexual chocolate wise, we're gonna have to skate on that one. But yeah, that's a beautiful picture, and I mean, it's tough getting over on a platform where you've got people loading what was it they said last time? Over 800,000 videos a day. And being able to stand out.
Oh yeah, no, that's not. It's not an easy job to like. I don't think anyone actually stands out. You just draw the lucky straw. Either someone stumble over you and find your stuff to be interesting, or more or less you just got the YouTube bump, more or less.
Yeah, I agree. In most cases, you do have to get the shine. Somebody premiering their stuff on a channel, that has a ton of subs. People like me, people will find me eventually, and that's cool because honestly, I don't do anything that's going to draw 1,000 people because I have no controversy. It's just people having a conversation. If they groove on that, then, that's that's all I ever want. And I know we had the discussion previously. He's like, you said, well, I'm going to be boring and this isn't going to be a good stream. And I'm like, this is a great stream, dude. You have no idea. You've got a lot of talent and people need to see it. Just not, not the stuff that I'll back up just a second. The stuff on your channel when you do live drawings is amazing, but most people don't get the chance to see you with like your commissioned artwork and to know that it's not, you're under 3 hours or 2 hours of pressure to get a work done. That, here's what I do when I'm not streaming. And I think it's an amazing comparison. I also think that anybody who hasn't gone and subbed out to his YouTube channel, the link is in the description down there. Go ahead, do it now if you haven't done it. And if you've done it, thank you. He's also available on Twitter. And of course, he does showcase some of his stuff that he does when he's on Twitter. If you're looking for a t-shirt and you see something tonight that you think would go great on a t-shirt that you want to buy, then kick it over to him. Let him know. Notify him. And of course, TeePublic, $2 is $2. So the bigger payoff is also the fact that somebody's buying and wearing your art. I don't know. Did you want to go to questions? We're starting to pull them up here.
I mean, we can go for some questions. Yeah, I have a bit more artwork to show off a bit later, so we can take some questions.
Okay, good. And we're definitely going to run through the portfolio. Zach Lonby, I'll always pronounce it that way. So if people are not reading in the chat, they don't get the joke. When will Blackout be taking commissions again?
For now, I will leave my commissions open, but I won't be able to work on any until I come back from the US, which I'm leaving for on Thursday. So I'll be back on the 28th, I believe, and basically after that, I'll start getting some work done. Gives a lot of people enough time to get their commissions ready.
Oh, and by the way, just by show of ones in the chat, who would like to see Blackout go ahead and do vlogs while he's in America? To have him do since he's not going to be able to do the show most of the time, basically have him do some nice video shorts to keep you guys up to date on his second coming to America journey. And of course, since there is a lag between when I ask that as to when the chat can react, let's go ahead and go to the next question. And I lost it somewhere, but I forget who asked it. They were asking if you were going to do the invitation cards for Tater and Sassy's wedding.
I haven't been asked about that before. I mean, I wouldn't say no. I mean, I'm always up for drawing different things, but just beware of my art style. That's all. Just look at what's on screen. Let me just zoom in so you all can enjoy the horribleness that is my art style. So,
no, not horribleness, the horror.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
Yeah, I guess
because it's great art, but it depicts horror.
Yeah. Anyway, any other questions you want?
Yeah. I don't know how to ask this. Occam's router asks, have you been to or know of Vang? Or is it Vong? V-A-N-G.
It's Vong. Because the A is it's enunciated differently.
Did it have the umlauts on it or a strike through?
No, it's just because it's Norwegian. We have different enunciations of the letters, basically. Been to Vong. Where the fuck is that again? Because there is a few places called the Vong, but this is...
Well, the reason why he asked is because his family farmland going back 1,000 years is there and still going. So what? Does he get free milk or cheese? What the hell, Occam?
Yeah, what's the catch to this? I think I've been there like once, but I only drove through there. But yeah, no, Norway's a big country. I don't have time to go through everything. Not yet, at least.
I thought it was about the size of Texas.
Yeah, but there's a lot of mountains.
Ah, okay. And let's see here. God, there's a lot of ones I got to go through here. So yeah, people want the vlog.
I guess that's happening now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Vicala, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, dear. 360 vlogs, only $120.
I'm already spending enough as it is.
Well, Vicala, if you really do want to contribute, he would not allow me to put his Streamlabs on there, but he does have a Streamlabs. It exists. So if you want to help pad the journey, you certainly can drop some ducats on him. Zach is asking, how well does his accent clean up with them American girls?
There's only one way to find out.
Yes, we need a Blackout ASMR channel.
Oh my.
Can you feel me rubbing my beard? Because I'm not. I'm clean shaven. Azalea Rosette asks, does Blackout follow comics and cartoon trends in Europe historically or in recent trends?
As I said, a lot of my comics experience, I've been reading old comics from Europe. And when I say Europe, it's it's mostly the style that was drawn in Belgium and France back in like 80s, 90s, like comics. So we have Asterix, we have Tintin, Lucky Luke. What else was there?
Lucky Luke wasn't bad either.
Oh, I love that fucking comic. There were Sprint. That was a good one. At least from what I remember. Morton Phil, of course, the Smurfs. Like, it's all the same type of art style, and you can definitely see it in my style. I know that much for a fact.
Oh yeah.
Okay. At least from the people who have seen that style and are from Europe, they really notice it.
And here's the thing that, I mean, I know a lot of the people who watch this are North American based, but especially in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, instead of a lot of European press going out to find their own, they would basically just scavenge stuff from DC and Marvel and just basically put it through a translator and print it in a comic. I have tons of comic books that are, well, I have a Swedish Spider-Man. I do have a German Incredible Hulk. I do have a Spanish Fantastic Four. But the bad thing about the European scene through those decades was they weren't really looking to expand from their own, and finding things like Tintin or Asterisk and Obelisk. Those were gems. And I mean, even the British equivalent, there were a ton of great writers and artists in the 70s and 80s, but the only place you'd ever find those guys were in newspaper inserts in a basically a rag. And a rag is basically something that doesn't have like a glossy cover or anything, but a rag magazine like 2000 AD. And, I got turned on by that. And then they would make these European references to like Asterisk, and they make references to Tintin, and I'd have to go hunt them out. They were incredibly hard to find. If you were between Asian manga and American comics, then there was a lot of art that was there, but it never really got out. Just like heavy metal that came out of France.
Oh yeah,
beautiful artwork, but you really didn't get that much shine because of the fact that, it's coming from Europe, and Japanese anime is the leader, or Marvel comics are the best comics. And I think a lot of people, especially people in the chat, if you're fans of art, then definitely the names that we're talking about, go and search them out. I think you will find a lot of fun with them. To me, Asterisk and Obelix were like the Laurel and Hardy of Europe. Basically just two Vikings stumbling about the landscape. And it's amazing stuff. Tintin, I can parody it to Terry and the Pirates. It was an ongoing serial. He was always doing something. Or Johnny Quest, because I know for a fact that Johnny Quest borrowed heavily from Tintin, even though there really wasn't a dog involved. But that's these ideas, no matter how obscure, they were good enough for the people who were getting the spotlight to shine on. And basically, I hate to say rip off, but homage. And okay, Sisyphus asks, and of course this is an incredibly important question, how much does Blackout deadlift?
I'm a weak fuck. Okay, I don't lift, to be honest. I used to work out for a while, but it was more of me keeping myself in shape, like in normal shape, not getting fat.
Well, and as long as you're able to deadlift, a 4H, then that's all you really need at that point. You're getting your workout.
Yeah.
Or maybe a 2B.
I don't know the difference.
Well, see, that's where my boomerism comes in, because when I went to art school, it was like a drill instructor that we had to know the difference between the two, because that's going to give you your shading and your texture.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Right now, I will tell you this, man. I am dying because I really want to get my hand back in shape so I can start drawing again. I did offer on my Patreon, if somebody gives it a certain level, I would literally draw them one of my artist trading cards. And I'm sitting here looking at a couple $100 that I won't kid you. I didn't put the money in. Other people wanted to see me draw, and they gave these to me. They had like extra colors and stuff, and there's a couple $100 worth of Copics that are sitting here that I can't use. And I'd love to get back to doing it. As a matter of fact, I will make you the same proposition as I made Diddy, because I've got to get your PO anyway, because I haven't sent your birthday present yet.
Yeah, I'll send you that after.
Well, don't do it on stream. Of course
after
not.
this. Yeah.
Because, you know, if you do that, then Joker's going to start sending you glitter bombs.
Oh, God. Oh,
And
no.
I have no doubt that the Talk No State would do something devious with it, too. Yeah, I am serious as a heart attack, people. I am happy to draw if I can get back to that. And that's why I have a lot of respect. A lot of respect for people who are able to translate the images they have in their brain and put it on paper or do it digitally. No, broski, Joker would not send nudes. He's all about the outlines because Mrs. Joker and Grumble Snorts don't want to share. And don't you bring up midget porn, goddammit. I still haven't checked that off my list yet. So yeah, while we've got just a little bit of time here, can we jump back into the portfolio?
Yes, we can.
By the way, Zach saying, and what is that PO box? We have a lot of taco related gifts to shower him with. New.
I don't think so. That sounds like a bad idea.
Or in the words of George Bush Sr., not gonna die, not gonna do it.
Okay, so it should be showing up on the screen now.
Well, we have a 10-second delay, so that'll come.
Just make sure. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so during the summer of last year, to point out, I started doing commissions in May last year. So I've been doing, like, being in this so-called artist game for a little over a year. So I've actually not been in it for that long. And so basically through Elvis the Alien, I got contacted by two YouTube rappers by the name of Josh A and Jake Hell, who wanted me to draw them a album cover for their basically shitpost album. Like, their stuff is pretty good. I enjoy a lot of their music, but this was just something they did for fun. At least that's what I've been told, which was this one. And that suddenly led into a different type of audience where, okay, everyone knew about the drawing, but no one knew about the artist. And that's going to be a thing that pops up a lot later again. So
well,
yeah,
it is kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, and then I basically returned. I got another commission from Elvis the Alien, which was the over-detailed head hair, which was for his his fourth season. So I kind of slowed down with the commissions because I started to get fucking drained. I was so tired of doing other people's stuff, so I needed to take a break. So I think I took a break for like two months roughly, where I started doing commissions again because I just felt like doing something different again. Because when you have to come up with your own artwork, that can be both the most difficult thing because you don't know what you're going to start with. You don't have a starting point to help you out. Because when you get a commission from someone, they have a vision of what they want. And what I've always tried to do is try to make the drawing as close as as close as possible to their vision, just done in my own style.
Yeah. It's
So
understandable because if they could translate what they see in their head, then they wouldn't need an artist.
exactly. And yeah, so I got back into drawing this one. Oh wait, it was, yeah, it was the head, and then 2 months of break. I got contacted by Jake Hill again, one of the YouTube rappers that I did work for, and he asked me to do like a simple design for his upcoming rap album. And he didn't really give me a lot to go off on. So I just pitched him an idea, because all the album was named Spectre, and he wanted to have something to do with the color spectrum. And
So kind of like a Northern Lights setup.
yes, that was the entire idea that just popped into my head. I did this. I think I did this in a week. I had a hard time coming up with a good idea, so I used like 4 days on coming up with the main idea. But getting from like one point till finishing this was roughly a week in total. And I don't think I actually listened to the rap album afterwards, unfortunately. I kind of forgot about that, so I'm gonna have to check that one out after the stream. Okay, so where are we at? Oh yeah, we're passing 2018. Christmas is gone. I haven't drawn for like 3 months because I was completely drained. I was so done with art for a while. I didn't want to draw, and I had promised Christmas commission, or Christmas drawing. I was working on the commission like during November, and it took me until January to finish it. And this is actually a commission that never got used. It's not on a shirt. It's not on anything. Unfortunately,
I like it, though.
Yeah, except for the rabbit down in the corner, didn't like that one. But the rest, I really liked doing this, and I was kind of sad that it didn't get used. So that's the winter completely gone. Cue in the morning Kumite. So this was back in March. I have just started watching. I think it was because of Jim's video on Kraut that I started watching the morning Kumite. I found the streams to be enjoyable. I drew this thing, just posted it on Twitter for fun. Like, I didn't really get any exposure out of this. Like, I offered to even put it on a shirt, but neither Tonk nor Vamp got back to me on that.
Yeah, well, that does happen. I've done a couple.
It happens. I've been through that a lot of times with drawings that I've done for people, and like I at this point I'm so used to it. This was just for fun. I did it while watching their streams. Okay, so oh shit, yeah, I skipped one there. A month later, I believe, yeah, Failure contacts me and wants me to draw him a profile picture that a lot of people have probably seen if they've been within the Kumite community. Just give it a moment, it's loading in. There we go. And I believe it was because of the previous drawing I had gotten to know about optics art, and I talked to him a few times, and suddenly he sent me or he talked to Failure and basically told him to give me a chance to draw something. So that's one of the reasons why I will continue to advertise for the Morning Decay on my streams, because they kind of kicked this one off quite early on. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy about how this one turned out.
It's fun because a lot of people did not tune into the Failure Drunk stream where he just got pissed off at his keyboard and beat it to death.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. And the thing is, because of this stream, I actually, at the time, I was still streaming my art over on Twitch. Like, I've been streaming on Twitch since 2013 with no actual so-called success to get any attention. Like, I used to be in a small streaming community. Like, one of the biggest streamers we had around, he had like, at most, he had a regular viewer count of like around 400. And that's really solid back then. So people knew who I were for a while. That community collapsed. There were no one who really watched anymore. So I returned and I started doing this on Twitch. I got to know actually one of my friends during this stream that I did this on, which was my buddy Coffee, who I've voiced for you once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
I like Coffee. She nursed for us.
Yeah. Let's see. And she even was on for the earlier stream today on my channel.
Yep.
Let's see. Gotta get through this a bit faster. I did this summer for Elvis Alien again. The thing is, I'm off and on with my commissions. I flip between wanting to draw something myself and then drawing something for other people. Recently, I've been going back to doing commissions again. Like, I did a commission for Gaius Gracchus like last week that turned out really well. Let's see. Well, that why, goddamn it, computer. Yeah. So this one I put out last week for Gaius Gracchus, and I'm really happy about how the line art looks. I'm starting to get the feel of my own art style. I'm starting to actually be happy about how things looks. And that's not something I get often, as I said. And yeah, speaking of commissions, the morning wake and bake. And
yeah, love that
basically, at this point, you guys have started to talk about my art. You guys have brought me on streams. You've talked to me in private, and I've been starting to get into this smaller community that we're a part of on YouTube, and yeah, I don't know. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and I actually really appreciate everyone who decided to stick around, especially in this community, because all of the other communities that I've done work with them, no one have actually stuck around.
Well, wouldn't it, do me a favor and show the Krill Radio one.
Yes, hold on. There we go. I did the commission for T-Tech. Like, this was like 2 weeks ago? Or so a week ago. I don't remember. Time goes by too quickly for me. And yeah, I did this. I'm really happy about how it turned out. Probably gonna hate it in a week or so, but for now, I'm actually quite happy how it looks.
And there's a lot of subtle subtext in that too. If I may guess, the busted open door is something that Scrub escaped from.
No, I believe it's AP who kicked in the door.
I thought he kicked in the door at the top of the steps.
Talk to T-Tac. He's the one who approved this. I don't know the lore. That's the problem. Like, I'm still trying to get into this community that we're a part of. I don't have enough time during the day to watch all the streams that have happened while I was asleep, because that would be fucking suicide. I could, that would be like 6 hours of my day that I need to catch up on streams before starting a new round of watching streams. I couldn't do that.
And yes, Jolly Rogers, that is a sex doll in the corner.
Yes, that was specifically asked from T-Tech.
And a nice wanted poster of the white YouTuber in the back.
Yep.
And
yeah.
So how do you keep it in line? How do you keep all your commissions together? I know one of the questions was like, are you taking commissions at this point? And yeah, I agree. Fuck Whitey. But what's your workload like?
Honestly, for the last year now, it's been more or less maybe drawing a month at most. There's been months where I've had like 3 commissions and then 3 months of nothing, complete radio silence.
Yeah, feast or famine.
Yeah, but as I said, this is a side gig. Like, I'm not doing this as my job. I couldn't do this as my job. This is my hobby. This is what makes me happy to do. And I'd rather work to... Basically, I would rather work to live than to live to work.
Yeah.
Like, I like having something to look forward to getting home. I can sit down, start drawing, come up with something creative that can entertain people. That's all I actually want to do. I want to entertain people.
And speaking of entertaining, we're at the bottom of the second hour. So I just wanted to make sure that if you want to check out some of Blackout's other stuff, please do make sure check out his links in the description below. His Twitter, his YouTube, and of course the TeePublic store. Also, our prescription for additional entertainment. Please do make sure and check out the people that I like to watch, which includes American Gadfly, who's going to be doing a show right after this, a 9/11 conspiracy show. So sub up because I'll be there. Blackout by Dawn, Disky Fringo, Ichabod Orange, Irate Prostate, Social Wreck, The Killing Joke, Trippy Poop, and of course, Zach Lomby Live. Please go and check them out. If you don't like them, you get your money back. But then again, Yeah, they're free, so you don't have to pay anything. Also, I do have to mention people were bugging me about putting promoting my Streamlabs and my Patreon. I put in Nightbot, but apparently Nightbot took the day off.
Oh,
So
shit.
yeah, I have no idea what I did wrong on that. I thought I did everything right, but yeah, I have those. They exist. The one thing I did want to point out is that my wife was using her mystic powers and said that by the end of this show, I would actually have 300 subs. And currently, right now, just taking a look at it, I am at 297. So
Yep. You're closing in?
Yeah, she's almost a fakir. She almost has that second sight. And not that makes any difference to myself. I'm just glad that everybody shows up and that they're having a good time and they're hearing a good conversation between people, because I think that's really all that we're about. Honestly, I started this thing because I was going crazy being housebound, and then I found a lot of people. Joke says I'm at 298. A lot of people were looking for some type of entertainment that didn't involve who was backstabbing who. And by God, I'm all about having some conversations. I tell you what, I'll save it till the end of who's coming on. But damn, do we have a booked up rest of the month? And October is looking pretty awesome themselves. Oh, Pirate Mister says 299. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really important because there's a line that's been drawn between acceptance and creativity. And there are a lot of people out there who have literally thrown in the towel and said, okay, well, somebody said this, so that means I'm never going to be that. And there's a lot of discouragement out there.
Yeah.
But essentially, you've gone and said, hey, listen, this is something that I enjoy. This is something that I want to do. And I find this as a shared trait in the people that I've listed down in the prescription section, that it is all about your passion that drives you, that keeps you going forward. Even if you don't make, the gazillion dollars, you're still presenting yourself and you're still getting those kudos. I love your art. I would say most of the people in here who knew you before they came in, if they didn't like your art now, they surely love it by the slideshow. What in fact does keep you going?
Honestly, it's okay. One of the things that I've been kind of consistent about throughout the entire time I've done art is the fact that people enjoy it. I've always wanted to entertain people in some way. I'm not a funny guy. I'm not the guy that brings the comedy.
It depends on your alcohol consumption.
No comment. I mean, yeah, I do have a lot of fun drinking with people, but mostly I'm more of a laid back type of person. I don't really go too wild on things. And oh god, where the fuck am I going with this? I lost the question.
It's what keeps you going.
What keeps me going? Basically, I've always enjoyed entertaining people. I fail time and time again. It's fun. I still enjoy entertaining people. And if I can entertain by drawing, if I can entertain by making comics that someone will get a slight smile on or a smile from, that's all I ever wanted to do. Also, congratulations on 300.
By the way, thanks everyone for validating my wife's mystic powers. I think we'll take a quick break right here, and everybody, please make sure and raise your glasses, or maybe some type of glass implement, to go ahead and thank yourselves. Gosh, I mean, 300 people. That I'm not going to mundane Mac, you know, 100,000 subscribe, but for God's sakes, man, that's a lot of people who show up every Tuesday at 8 p.m. To say hi and howdy, and you know, basically to listen to two people just sit back and have a talk. And yes, I insist, Zach, another shot. So, ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead and raise your glasses to the air. Please make this for yourselves. You make us, literally, you make us. And for that, I need to celebrate. Welcome, New Amsterdam. No, Jessica, I'm sorry. I'm not a teary guy. Now, I tell you what, though. If things work out like I want them to work out, then you might actually see some cam footage of me. I have somebody kind of in the business, and if you've never heard of the name, that's okay. He's done a couple of high-profile things. His name's Kevin Yeager. He did he did the puppet of the Crypt Keeper, and he also did the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And he wants to hook me up with a DocGriffon mask. So
wait, he did. Oh God! Tales from the Crypt, as in the puppet.
Yes, he did. He did not only the puppet, but he was sitting there, you know, basically when they were shooting on the first episode, and he was just basically doing a funky voice, and they're like, "We like that. Do that." And he's like, "I don't." And he's like, "No, you've got your union card. You know, we will pay you to do the voiceovers." So yeah, technically, Zach, it was John Kassir, but Yeager actually did fill-ins for it. So you really have a hard time telling the difference between the two. But yeah, John Kassir was essentially covering what Kevin Yeager was doing live. But yeah, he has discussed, because we have friends in common, about doing a mask for me that I could perform in and doing a camera. Well, I don't actually have a webcam, but if everything goes down the pike, this should be a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm semi-speechless just because of the 300 thing, because you know, eat hearty, for tomorrow we dine in hell. So here's another shot. Look at that. They didn't even have to pay money in unpounded shots.
Yeah, it's gonna end well.
But yeah, thanks everybody. I certainly appreciate it. I hope you're going to come back. If I can, just a sidebar for a second, because this really isn't about me, but we've got a lot of really great guests coming on. And the thing I'm having the hardest time is getting on the YouTubers that you guys think would be a great guest. I know Blackout definitely had his reservations, but I'm like, dude, you got to come on because we have a lot of conversations off air, a lot of Discord. And I find him to be a fascinating kid. And yes, you're a kid because I'm double your age.
Yeah, I know.
But I respect what he does and how he does it. And he has an incredible fan service. And I like that a lot too. I have a lot of respect for his co-host Diddy as well. She does a lot of fun stuff. And everyone else out there who's thinking about doing something with YouTube wise, you really have to do it because it's something that you have a passion for, something that you like. Because there's no money here. There is literally no money available unless, people are going to be nice to you and hit you with some super chats. If you've got enough, I probably never will. Don't care. Streamlabs or Patreon. It's really rewarding to see people enjoying content that isn't, total and complete drama. Who's fucking over who? I don't care. I specifically don't care. There are a lot of great stories out there. And I want to listen to people tell their stories. The oldest person that I've had on has been 72. The youngest I've had on, of course, Blackout sets the record with 23. And it doesn't make a difference what your age is. There are stories to be told. And to not allow a platform for that to happen is, in fact, criminal. So, do what you feel driven to. And I'm sorry I have to go back to this, but I do it every single show. It takes three things. You got to flex your pec, which is your passion, your effort, and your commitment. If you do that, you'll always be happy walking away from anything. Fire Mistress did ask if I would interview Diddy. And yeah, I can interview Diddy. Right now, I'm kind of, I am just a little bit of BTS. I am trying to chase down more YouTubers because for the next 2 months, I have all my IRL celebs booked. And I really, really want to have on more YouTubers because, I want to share my platform with people that I think that are interesting. I want to sit down and have a conversation with people like Blackout. And I think we're going into way too much rant time for me because we're getting close to the top of the hour. One of the things that I'm really curious about is, are you comfortable in your current role on YouTube?
Honestly, yeah. As long as people are enjoying my streams, that all I don't care how many people are watching. If there's 2, if there's 500, it doesn't matter. As long as people are having fun. It's like what the Killing Joke said in the chat. We're doing it for the right reasons. We're here to have fun. We're here to entertain people and see that we all can have fun together on this platform, because it seems like a lot of people who make content here have forgotten about that part.
Yeah, and I tell you what, let's kind of go into this a little bit without being on the political side. I know we've had a lot of blowouts with people doxing people, people calling foul, people crying about how they have been mistreated. As a content provider, how do you get around that?
Well, keep people at arm's length, first of all. I mean, I know a lot of people are a bit too easy, or they're too easy to basically let anyone in. Like they give out way too much information.
Oh yeah, I can think of a dozen people that actually have my docs and they couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, and I I don't know. It's kind of a hard line to um, kind of cross, because usually there's a reason why someone would do something like that, unless their actual purpose is basically to dog someone or getting revenge, something malicious like that. Like usually there's a reason why they do it, and unless the reason is actually something that needed to be done, like I've seen people who have doxed someone because they were actually thinking the person was in some kind of danger. They had to find a phone number to the person to try to get a hold of them. And it all depends on the situation. Now, the last few weeks that I've seen going on within this community is some fucking horse shit, and I don't care about what they do. I just wish they could stop fucking with people who has done nothing to deserve this.
Well, and I think that's what separates good content from drama content, is the fact that okay, just briefly, anybody who fucks with irate prostate or Uzi Q is on my shit list. They are incredibly good people. They do awesome things, and he's making his way. He's figuring out what he wants to do, how he wants to do it. And I think he's creating, personally, some excellent content. And for somebody to try to run roughshod on those two people is fucking criminal. They're not doing any harm to anyone, and there's always going to be assholes, IRL and on the internet, but you legitimately should not mess with people who are not trying to do any harm to anybody else. They're just trying to go about their business. I mean, if I tell you what, if you really want to be a tough guy on the internet, then guess what? Try it out IRL first. Why don't you walk into a bar and start swinging your dick around and see how long you're going to be standing? Try that first. And then if that works out good for you, then, bring your baggage to the internet. Guess what? We're still going to ignore you. It's going to happen. Yeah. I don't care who you are. These people, especially the ones that I've listed in the chat, are doing content which is essentially conflict free. They just want to entertain you guys. They just want to have a good time. I know when I tune in to a Blackout by Dawn stream, I'm going to be entertained regardless. It's going to happen. There's going to be some organic fun that comes about, but there's also going to be a fascination with somebody practicing a craft that is amazing. And I really think people need to find alternate forms of entertainment. I know the Jerry Springer thing is appealing, but there's only so much that you can take with, inbred trailer park hoes who sleep with their brother's sister's mother's cousin. Just back off of it and try to listen to the people who are just speaking, who are just talking, who are enjoying their time. I can't think of a time when Blackout on a stream doesn't stop to notice and notify people, hey, thanks for coming to the chat. I appreciate that. That's amazing. That is incredible courtesy. I have no idea if that's a Norwegian thing, but hell, I enjoy watching you go and welcome such and such to the chat.
Actually, that's more. I think that I caught up on back when I used to do Twitch streams with the old community I used to be a part of, because one of the bigger streamers there kind of showed me something that I didn't expect, because I basically joined in on a random stream, didn't know anyone there, just started chatting out in the chat. Like, normally no one really pays too much attention on who joins in, but someone, like the streamer, called out my name and said, "Hi, how you doing?" And I noticed he did that to each and every viewer who joined the chat. And it felt a lot more personal to do that to a stream. And it turns out, yes, he actually did talk to most of his viewers. Like, he knew them, like he talked to them off air even, as the community grew. And that's why I always say hi to everyone. I do it on individual name by name basis, because I want everyone to be involved in a stream. That's why I find that streaming is a lot more fun than doing videos. Videos, you have people commenting. There's not going to be a conversation going on in the comment section. That's not happening nowadays.
You're right.
And a stream, you can make that a lot more viewer interactive. And that's what I wanted my stream to be. Like, I wanted to sit around with one of my best friends, who is Diddy, and just shoot the shit, talking to the chat. Just wanted to see how everyone was doing. Drag in a few people who we really enjoy talking to, like Doc or Joker, Broski, Optic, like whoever wanted to join in. And we just wanted to have fun. We wanted to entertain people. That's the, as I said, that's the one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to entertain people. I wanted to kind of have a feeling of everyone is on the same page. We're all here to have fun. Yeah, there's trolls, of course, but I think it was Joker I talked to this about earlier this morning, about trolls being funny. I find that trolls can be fun. If they're not funny, then it's just sad. And of course, it's gonna bring out a different side of the community. But you know what? Like, Joker is essentially a troll in this community, and he's a funny as hell guy.
Dude, he is the internet version of Don Rickles, and I love it when he rips me a new one.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a fun. He's a funny troll. He makes jokes about it. There's been a few trolls that I had to actually ban from my chat because it was just sad. But like, as long as you're funny, then I can have any troll in my chat. That entertain me, and I'll entertain you.
Yeah, and you can do it on multiple levels, which I find fascinating. I do want to make sure we're kind of at the top of the hour. I will honestly go as long as you want to go, but if I may, let me go ahead and just throw this in, because usually this is my gimmick at the top of the hour. People want to know who I've got coming on. Well, let me tell you. Can I just say I'm amazed at who's coming on? I've asked people, and I've gotten some great feedback. This one next week is going to be awesome as well. I've got the band Pony Trap coming in. And if you don't know who Pony Trap is, they are a band where they only have 2 actual humans as a part of the band.
Doc, I think what you should do is link a video to them in the chat, because I think they need to see this to believe this.
They're fucking amazing. It's ponytrapmusic.com. I can't pull it up quick enough, but let's see if I've got it here in my quick links. I don't think I do, because I'm a dumbass. Because I've just been talking to him straight back and forth. I think it's ponytrapmusic.com. Bear with me here for just a sec. To fill time here, Pony Trap is a band that has 2 instruments to it that are played by humans. Legitimately, one plays the stand-up cello, one plays a viola. They tried to get a drummer in. They couldn't find a drummer who was able to cover the syncopation of their music. So they went ahead and they built a drummer. This band, of course, plays all over the place. And more specifically, they always play at South by Southwest. Anytime National Geographic has a museum that they're opening up, they play there. And they are the favorite house band anytime this guy, I don't know if you ever heard of him, Ron Howard, the Academy Award-winning director. Anytime he's got a party going on, he brings in Pony Trap to play the music. So here's the link in the chat. Check them out. They're amazing. They're going to be on. Now, we don't know whether or not Hillary can make it, but if she can, we might even have a live performance, which that'd be mind-blowing. If you listen to their stuff or go on and check their YouTube videos, they don't have a lot of YouTube subs, but I'm hoping we are going to change this.
Yeah, they have 119 subs.
Yeah, and
at the time of this stream.
And these guys are Hollywood without being Hollywood. People want them. People want them to show up to their parties and play. Literally, the drummer is hooked up with not only lights, but pyrotechnics. So, I mean, you've got flames and you have lights and you have primal drumming. What's their gimmick? They say that they are, they say, what is it? They're a tribal people. Oh crap, I forget what it was. A great quote too. They were tribal people with industrial rhythms, and they certainly are. Even the Austin Chronicle said, if our post-industrial dystopia needs a soundtrack, Pony Trap can help, overlaying dark cello and viola against waves of thundering percussion. The result is a uniquely futuristic classical score of dark rhythms and haunting mechanics. I can't agree with that anymore. That's amazing. And they are amazing. And you guys will enjoy them. They're fantastic. Real great group of guys. Excuse me, a guy and a gal. They are so amazing that when they got married, both of them took their surnames. So both of them have their surnames, which is amazing. Also, we have on the 25th coming up, Disky Frigo is going to stop by. If you haven't subbed to his channel, you really need to. I swear to God, he will not be doing any Pain Olympics. When
I hope not.
Oh my God! When if I can tell just a little story here, I had to leave for an emergency IRL for the Broski benefit, and when I came back, there was Disky getting ready to rub what is it? Carolina Scorpion hot sauce on his face. And I'm sitting there in the chat just typing furiously, stop it, quit it, don't. I was about ready to blow him out of the chat because I'm like, you know, don't do this. But he was such a nice guy. He believed in exactly what we were trying to do with the show, that he was willing to maim and possibly blind himself for his whole damn life. And I really like Disky. He's one of the few people that I consider friends on the internet. Not friends, but friends. He's a really awesome guy, and we're just going to be sitting down talking about why he does what he does. God, how do I describe October? Really? I have two-time Eisner Award winner Mike Barron opening up on October 2nd. Those of you who don't know Mike Barron, he is a comic book writer. He's also written several books. And yeah, the Eisner Award is basically the award that says, damn, you do an awesome job writing a comic book. And he's won it twice. Once for Nexus, and I forget what the other one was. He has worked for every major comic book company. He'll be on the show. And then we've got on the 9th, we have Jim Wynorski. If you've ever seen the movie Chopping Mall, or
oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that interview.
Or Deathstalker 2, or the Witches of Brestwick, or the Bear Wench Project. Jim Wynorski's done over 100 movies, and he is a premier B-movie artist. He's an awesome director. If you don't know what he's about, please rent the movie Papatopoulos, and you'll see he's going to be a fun time. And we're going to dive in and do a brain pick. And I'm not going to say who's going on for the other additional weeks, but ending out the month, we have the man who created the Friday the 13th franchise, who produced Last House on the Left, Mr. Sean Cunningham. And he is going to sit down with us and talk about his career and his life. And yeah, this is going to be a roller coaster, people. You will not be able to fathom the things that he has done, the places that he's been. And if you ask people behind the scenes, especially in Hollywood, Sean Cunningham is one of the names that gets whispered. Without Sean Cunningham, there was no Freddy versus Jason. So this is going to be a good show. Tune into it and make sure that you have plenty of adult beverages handy, because this is going to be a fun time had by all. And this is not possible. Let me just break this down for you in case you guys are missing it. This is not possible without you. If you didn't show up, I would not have the encouragement to go and try to get these people. I've got quite a few more IRL people coming in. I'm not going to mention about November and December, but without you guys making your suggestions and talking about who you want to hear a conversation with, this isn't. And this is what amazes me. Every day I get a DM. Have you thought about talking to this guy? What about this female? Everybody is giving me suggestions of people that they want to hear talk. And I know Blackout won't believe this, but I've had more than one suggestion about why don't you get Blackout on and talk to him. And I'm like, I'm completely up for that. I'm good to go. And truth be told, he was in the wings and Undoom bailed out. And I'm like, okay, great. The first person I asked, I was like, Undoom bailed. Come on, Blackout, please come on. I mean, I asked him to, and he said, you know, dude, I don't think that I really want to do this because I'm a nobody. And I was like, dude, you've got a fascinating story. People want to hear what you have to say. It's not the fact that you're too young for this. You're in this YouTube game, and it doesn't really make a difference. The path that people take to get to where they want to be is incredibly divergent. And thus far, it's been a fascinating conversation because I'm really interested, because I'm really jealous of the fact that I didn't figure out who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do until I probably hit my late 30s. And by then, my ambition was pretty slow and there was no technology to back me up with it. You have everything laid out and available to you, and you are taking advantage of it. And to that, it draws my respect and admiration. And to me, you'll always be, regardless of a YouTube friend, but, you know, if you ever need a place to stay that's, you know, in the ghetto and, you know, you're stopping by where I live, you know, you got a bed for a couple of days if you need it.
I mean, I really appreciate that.
And there are a lot of amazing people out there like yourself that need to be featured, that have to be featured.
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons why I think one of the first days that I talked to you, I was talking about me wanting to try to get people on, because I did actually watch one of your I think I watched the interview you did with the composer for the music of Friday the 13th.
Oh,
And
Harry Manfredini.
yeah, and that was such a good interview. I kind of wanted to try doing something like that myself. And you kind of just dropped like the information I actually needed, like out of fucking nowhere. Like, I don't know.
Well, and honestly, there's no real mystery to doing an interview.
No, there's not.
You basically treat somebody like they're somebody you went to school with and you haven't seen for a few years. You have that familiarity, and then you drop into it because I'm sure there are always fanboy questions. But,
oh yeah,
and I ask them. I will not hesitate to say that I ask them, and that's okay because they really expect it. But just sit down and say, I really want to know how you did this, or what motivated you to do that. I think that's something that any interviewer should be able to do and is obligated to do, because I really hate when people do interviews and it's press junket fan service, where you know that these actors are in and they have to answer the same 20 goddamn questions going around, and people are completely missing the point. Whereas we really want to get to know the actors. And I know on a junket, I've done junkets, by the way. On a junket, you've got 15 to 20 minutes at the most. You run in, the stars are sitting there, you ask them your questions, you run out, somebody takes your place. I'm really hoping that people enjoy Doctor on Call, because this is a sit back, non-judgmental, talk to me, and that's it.
Yeah, that's actually why I've started to have people on my show. Like I had someone on today.
Oh, I love the Thorn interview.
Yeah, Thorn was great, and I've had like a few artists on who basically has no exposure given to them, because I I want the people who basically has no one to give them the little bump they need. Uh, yeah, I bring on people who I think are either nice enough, or I enjoy the company of, or I just want to talk to. And when we talked about doing the interviews, I think the one thing that I kind of made clear was also that don't I don't want to interview anyone like just to interview them. I want to interview them for a reason. And
and that's the perfect way to go. I mean, you legitimately have to find out something interesting about a person that you want to bring them on. And when I was talking with Gerald Casale last week, I gave him information about Devo that he didn't know. And he has said, he sent me an email back directly and said, I really enjoyed the interview. I think we need a part 2. And that just completely and totally blew me away. Because I'll be honest with you, people, Jared Casale is my biggest get at this point. I mean, the man who co-founded Devo and helped to create a musical revolution. I never expected him to come back and say, yeah, I want to come back on your show. And he knows how many people watch. I'm completely upfront. You know, hey, we're a small little humble talk show. We just talk to people. And he wants to come back on. Funny thing is, the official Devo fan club inducted me in last week because of the fact that I interviewed him, and it was the first time that anybody had sat down and had an interview like that with him, and people so enjoyed it. And that kind of stuff amazes me. I love it when people give me suggestions and I go out to get these guys. And if I get them, then you know I'm not going to let you guys down. I'm going to dissect the person as far as, you know, I've said this a gazillion times, how they do what they do and why they do what they do. And I think that is the cornerstone of conversation. You can fanboy all you want, and that's awesome. And I fanboy too. But to be able to sit back and talk to people, even as famous as the ones I've been getting so far, to talk to these people and be able to let them open up and share what they want to share is pure magic. I can't really stress it in any other way. And God damn it, we've gone completely off the rails. We're already 20 minutes after 10. I'm trying to figure out whether or not if, well, wait a minute. Let me just take a look here. Because not that the story isn't fascinating, but I know Gadfly is on right now talking about the official story of 9/11. And I find that fascinating myself. I will go ahead and recommend that right now in the chat. I don't want to push anybody out of the discussion, out of the conversation here, but here's something that can be enjoyed as well. I always want to make sure and pimp people.
Yeah, of course. Like, yeah, Godfly is a great dude. So,
and Bance, I can say this much: when the film The Exorcist came out, we actually went and saw it at the drive-in theater. My mom took us to see it because she wanted to see it, and she knew that she'd have trouble getting in kids. And we went and saw it. And yes, I would put The Exorcist in my top 5 horror movies of all time. Okay, there is the link, by the way. And not that I want to kill the boner of the conversation that we're having. I always want to make sure and offer all alternatives. But I do want to make sure, let's get down to the core of this. If somebody's going to ask you, well, why do I want to click on the link and sub to No Blackout or No Final Blackout? What do you tell them?
I would usually say that if you enjoy watching people draw, kind of a lot more cartoony, not anything realistic, and people just shooting the shit, having a conversation between two hosts and their audience, then my channel might be something for you. We do gaming once a week, if not more. Kind of depends on our schedules. And if you enjoy a lot of movie talk or gaming talk, or actually music and art as well, like we talk about anything we feel like we want to just discuss, then my channel might be something for you. It's not for everyone. There's probably going to be some dead air. I'm known for that. I'm trying my best to get better at that.
And
hey.
I'm having somebody, and I'm having somebody busting my balls on DM. Okay, I have a Streamlabs down in the description. I have a Patreon down in the description. There, are you happy now? Okay, let's get back to this. God damn. Okay, I just want to say, I've been housebound for 4 years because of strokes. And I started this to keep me from going insane. And to be honest with you, I appreciate people who contribute to the Streamlabs, people who contribute to my Patreon. I completely enjoy that. I'm happy that you do it. It's validation to me. It's like buying a ticket to go see a movie. But I've got quite a bit of reservation to it because I don't feel like, and I'll say this up front without any bullshit to it, I don't feel like I've provided enough content to have people give me money. And my computer is dying. It's basically a 6 or 8 year old computer I bought for $67, and it's been crashing. I literally had to crush out any programs that are running to make sure that I'm able to still do this show. And that's one of the big reasons why I can't do OBS, because it basically makes my computer crash. I mean, I bought it from an insurance company for $67 2 years ago. So I have problems begging. And I'm not gonna. People have been trying to push me to do a GoFundMe so I can get a computer and everything. And I honestly don't think I've earned your respect enough yet. I have not put out enough content to be able to get there. Now, when I do, I'll be happy to do that. Okay? If you guys want to kick in for that, that's cool. But besides that, just like everybody in the description list, just like Blackout, I'm here essentially because this is something that I enjoy to do. No, Vance, that's not a joke. That is true. And I think that's really important. So please, I mean, the people that are left watching, please go down. This isn't a shill for me. This is a shill for the people that I enjoy. Go down in the prescription for additional entertainment. Sub to these guys. Like them. Love them. If you don't like them, you get your money back. And, you know, like I'm saying, the YouTube's free. So go on about your business. But these are people who deserve to be heard. They're amazing content creators that create some beautiful stuff that will keep you entertained. And I tell you what, I promise. If I do go the GoFundMe route, I will put it up. I will list it. But for right now, that's not the important thing. The important thing is that you guys make your own education. Go with the people that you enjoy. Find those people. Discover them. They are pearls in the oyster. And make sure you share them. And we're coming to the bottom of hour 3. I want to make sure if there's anything that you feel that's important, Blackout, that we need to cover before we bust out.
I mean, there's not really that much more to discuss. Like, all I want is for people to have fun. That's what I want. And if either me or you or anyone else in this community manage to entertain people by streaming, then there's nothing better. Like, when I started my show as was something to fill time with, because there were nothing to watch on YouTube. There were no one streaming at the time. So yeah, fuck it. I'll take 2-3 hours out of my day to try to entertain people, show off my art, just draw, doodle something, maybe have some long-term project that I'm working on, just for fun. Just don't go into it with the mindset of you're gonna get rich on this, because you're not.
Well, and I don't regret busting your balls, because if I can share a little bit of something, I talked to you afterwards, BTS, the first couple of streams that you were on. I was like, dude, do this. And you're like, yeah, well, and I was like, no, do this. Just like Field of Dreams. People will come, Ray. They will come. And I mean, I'm not taking credit for anything that you do, because of the fact it's all you. And one of my personal things, and I'll say this without any hesitation, I'll leave the Kumite when you guys are on, because I want to know. I want to know what you're doing today, what you're drawing today, what kind of bands are going to happen. And I mean, God bless Kumite and everything that they do. But I have to say this publicly. You are more entertaining to me. It's not a diss for the Kumite. It's just, I know what I like. And I mean, I can hear them talking about topics and everything, but being able to sit back and watch somebody in the stages of creationism is incredibly fascinating to me. It's incredibly frustrating since I can't do it right now, but you know, I'm working it. I'm trying to get my hand back to shape to where, you know, if somebody actually does hit that Patreon level, I'll be more than happy to go ahead and draw them something. I don't know if that's a push out or anything, but me being able to sit back and watch artists do art, I can't think of anything more rewarding.
I mean, one of the big things that I've always liked has been the Bob Ross Twitch streams. Ever since they started doing that over on Twitch, it's one of the reasons why I always drew on stream, because I can tell how fun it is to just see something get created on stream.
Oh, it's incredibly fascinating.
Yeah, and of course, if you have a personality, or you have two people that enjoy each other's company on screen drawing at the same time, like, you have something to watch and you have something to listen to, instead of just listening to something. Because if you're like me, that now I'm talking to generally in the chat, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts where I basically had the podcast on in the background while doing something else, like playing video games or drawing or even falling asleep. And it becomes background noise, and you don't necessarily care about the topic, but there's nothing else that's going on. It's also kind of how I treated the radio for a while, because it became background noise. I didn't care what was on the radio. It's just there while I'm driving.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. A lot of people, YouTube right now is talk radio for this generation, and
It is.
I grew up with talk radio, but there's only so much political bullshit that you can listen to, and there are so many people out there on YouTube doing their own thing, grooving on the amazing. I've got somebody coming on in November that is a college counselor. Somebody that basically helps people in their time of crisis when they're going through college. And it's incredibly fascinating to me, and I think it would be incredibly fascinating to other people to listen to what somebody has to say who's currently in the system. And it's not essentially dealing with SJWs, it's dealing with kids and their everyday struggles. And to me, that's amazing. That's interesting. That's beautiful. And when people stop talking, people start misunderstanding. And that's what I really like about the shows that I put down into the description. I think it's amazing that they're basically sitting back talking about what they want to talk about and not trying to jam political agenda down your throat. Basically saying, hey, this is fun. Let's talk about, this game, or let's talk about this art style, or let's talk about, maybe something that came up in the news that made them laugh. And I think that's what YouTube, that's what the internet connection was actually made for. But I could just be rambling.
I mean, that's kind of what I thought the internet was for, connecting with people. And not necessarily a private way, but just talking to other people online.
And that's the way that it should be, for people to be having conversations. IRL conversations are a dying form. And if it is to be done on the internet, then why can't people talk frankly and bluntly and enjoy something? I mean, honestly, it's to me, to watch somebody create something and then at least being able to have a dialogue, because I know that your chat room is filled with dialogue. It's not like, oh, this is some guy drawing some shit. Let's talk about that. We'll get into a conversation, and then that will lead farther and farther and farther down the magical rabbit hole, which is understanding. And
Yeah.
dude, I'm sorry. I am so rambling at this point, because this is to be about you, because you have value. And I will say that unabashedly, not in only the things that you draw, but in the entertainment that you bring to the internet. So if you have not subscribed yet to Blackout by Dawn, you guys really need to do so. I want to make sure we're just past the bottom of the hour. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? Is there any important message that we need to get out to the dozen people that are watching?
I think the most important thing to take away from it is do what you want to do. Just make sure to have fun while doing it. And keep it illegal.
And that's incredibly succinct. Sometimes the easiest things in life are the hardest to follow. And I will say, because I'll go ahead and wrap this, because I want to make sure that everybody gets over to Gadfly. I'll put that link. I'll spam that link in the tubes. Yeah, there you go. But I do want to make sure. I mean, once again, this is a story that ends with passion, effort, and commitment. Whatever you want to do out there, please do make sure that you have those three things involved to finish up the show tonight. And I will say that once again, I'm looking at the diagnosis, and there's nothing wrong with classic chronic autism. And I certainly would like to thank my guests coming on this evening. Just as a recap, coming up for the next few weeks, we have the band Pony Trap. I think we've talked about that quite a bit. On the 25th, we have Disky Fringo. On October 2nd, we have Eisner Award winner Mike Barron. And, of course, on the 9th, we have B-movie director extraordinaire Jim Wynorski. That one's going to be a good time, people. All of the shows are a good time as long as you're here to enjoy them. And I would like to thank once again my guest, Blackout. Franz, it's been a pleasure. And
it's been a pleasure being here.
And of course, thank you to everybody in the chat who makes this show as good as it is. If you have any suggestions about guests that you would like for me to take a look at, to ask, don't hesitate. Please do contact me. My Twitter DMs are open. And of course, I'd like to thank everyone who's shown, everyone who's grown, and everyone who's known. The doctor's office is now closed.